Let me ask you something. What if I told you that right now, in 2026, there is a group of black families quietly building more wealth than their grandparents ever dreamed of? And they're not doing it by working harder. They're not doing it by getting a better job. And they're definitely not doing it by waiting for somebody to give them a fair shot. What if I told you that the business model responsible for this is something that almost anyone in our community can do with the knowledge they already have from the house they already live in, using the phone already in their pocket? Would you want to know what that model is? Because here's what I know to be true. The wealth gap in this country is real. The barriers are real. The history is real. I'm not going to stand here and pretend none of that exists. But I'm also not going to let you use it as a reason to stay stuck. See, there's a difference between what happened to us and what we choose to do about it. And there are black families right now today who have chosen to do something about it. And they are winning. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what business model they are using, exactly why it works, and exactly how you can start building it, starting today. So stay with me. Don't skip ahead, because every single section of this video is building towards something that could literally change the financial trajectory of your entire family line. Let's get into it. I want to start by being real with you. I grew up poor. Not just regular poor. I'm talking about a family where money was always the source of stress, always the thing that determined what we could and couldn't do, always the conversation happening behind closed doors that nobody wanted to have out loud. And I was taught what most of us are taught. You go to school, you work hard, you keep your head down, you get a good job, and eventually, things will be okay. You know what that advice actually is? That's the advice of someone who has already accepted that the system was not built for them to win big. That's the advice of survival. Not wealth, not legacy, survival. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this. How many people do you know who have worked hard their entire lives and are still broke? I don't mean lazy. I don't mean irresponsible. I mean genuinely hardworking, God-fearing, doing everything right people who reach their 50s and 60s and still have nothing of significance to pass on to their children. How is that possible? It's possible because hard work by itself does not create wealth. Hard work creates income. And there is a massive difference between income and wealth. Income is what you earn while you work. Wealth is what works while you sleep. Here are the 3 traps that are keeping most black families stuck. And I need you to hear this without getting defensive, because I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a system you were placed in. Trap number 1, trading time for money. When you stop working, the money stops. That is not a wealth building model. That is a survival model. Trap number 2, consuming instead of creating. The average black household spends a significant portion of its income on brands, entertainment, and experiences that build other people's wealth, not our own. Trap number 3, no system, no leverage, no way for money to come in when you're not actively there to chase it. Now here's the context. As of 2025, the median white family in America holds roughly 8 times the wealth of the median black family. 8 times. And that gap has barely moved in decades, not because black people aren't working hard, but because we've been playing the wrong game with the wrong rules. The game is not get a job and save money. The game is build a system that creates value for other people at scale. And that game, we can win. And let me show you how. All right, let's talk about the model. I want to introduce you to something I call the Offer Ascension Ladder. And when you understand this, I mean really understand it, you are never going to look at business the same way again. Here's the core idea. Most people think business is about selling a product or offering a service, but that's not how wealthy people think about it. Wealthy people build ecosystems of offers, multiple ways for customers to engage with their value, from free all the way up to premium. And each level of the ladder serves a different type of buyer, at a different level of commitment, at a different price point. Let me break it down for you simply. Level 1, the lead magnet, free or low cost. This is how you attract attention. A free checklist, a short video training, a low price ebook for $7 or $17. The purpose of this level is simple. Get people into your world who have already raised their hand and said, I am interested in what you know. Level 2, the core offer, $97 to $497. This is your bread and butter. An online course, a workshop, a group coaching program. This is where you package your expertise, what you already know, into a result that someone else is willing to pay for. And here's the key. You create it once and it sells over and over again. Level 3, the high-ticket program, $3,000 to $10,000. Now we're talking about a deeper level of access, a live coaching program, a mentorship, an intensive. People who are serious about their results are willing to invest serious money to get them. This is where real income transformation starts to happen. Level 4, the premium experience, $25,000 and up, masterminds, done-for-you services, elite consulting. At this level, you are not just providing knowledge, you are providing transformation, community, and a direct relationship with your expertise. And yes, people pay for this every single day. Now, let me tell you why this model is perfect for our community in 2026 specifically. Number 1, you don't need startup capital. You don't need a business loan. You don't need investors. You don't need a credit check. You need knowledge and an internet connection. Number 2, you don't need inventory. Digital products don't require a warehouse, a supply chain, or a physical location. You make it once. You sell it 1,000 times. Number 3, you don't need to be famous. You don't need 1 million followers. The people who are thriving with this model right now are reaching their specific audience. The people who need exactly what they know and serving them deeply. And here's the most important thing I need you to understand about this model. You already have a level 2 offer sitting inside you right now. I'm serious. What do you know that someone else is struggling with? What have you figured out that other people in your situation wish they knew? What skill, experience, or expertise do you carry because of your career, your life, your culture, your journey that has real value to real people? Think about it. If you've been a nurse for 15 years, you know how to navigate the healthcare system in ways that other people don't. That's an offer. If you've been a barber or hairstylist building clientele for a decade, you know how to market and grow a personal service business. That's an offer. If you've been a teacher, you understand how to educate and engage people. That's an offer to homeschool families, to tutoring platforms, to corporate trainers who want to communicate better. The question is not, do I have something to offer? The question is, have I packaged what I already know into something someone can buy? Let me tell you about some real people who are living this out. I'm going to protect their privacy, but everything I'm about to share is drawn from actual situations. The first story is a single mother, a teacher. She had been in the classroom for 12 years. She loved her students, but she was exhausted, underpaid, and spending her own money on supplies. She was doing the most important job in the world and being compensated like it didn't matter. She started creating digital curriculum, lesson plans, activity kits, educational frameworks, and packaging them for homeschool families, which is one of the fastest growing education markets in the country right now. She started selling on her own website. First year, about $40,000 in additional income, and on top of her salary. Second year, she refined her offer, started building an audience, added a small monthly membership for homeschool parents. She crossed $180,000 that year. She did not quit her job until she was ready. She built the ladder while standing on solid ground. The second story is a 52-year-old man, a contractor. He had been in the construction trades for over 25 years. He'd built everything, literally built other people's homes, other people's businesses, other people's wealth. And he decided, the knowledge in my head is worth more than I've ever been paid for it. He started coaching young black men, specifically young men who wanted to start their own contracting businesses, on how to get licensed, how to bid jobs, how to hire crews, how to avoid the mistakes he made. He charged $3,000 for a 12-week program. He had 6 clients in his first cohort. That's $18,000. He kept going, added a higher tier option, built a community. Today, he runs a business generating over $500,000 a year, and he wakes up every morning knowing he's not just building his own wealth, he's building the infrastructure for an entire new generation of black-owned construction businesses. The third story is a young couple, both in their early 30s. They use the offer model to generate enough cash flow to fund their first real estate investment. Then they use that property to leverage into a second, then a third. They built both streams, the digital business and the real estate, simultaneously. 3 years after they started, they crossed $30,000 per month in passive and semi-passive income. They have not touched their W-2 savings in 2 years. The system is feeding itself. Here is what all 3 of these stories have in common. They did not wait for permission. They did not wait until conditions were perfect. They did not wait for someone to believe in them before they believed in themselves. They found the model. They did the work, and the model did what it was designed to do. Okay, let me get practical with you, because inspiration without instruction is just entertainment. Here are the 4 steps to building your offer ecosystem. Step 1, identify your core expertise. This is not about finding something new to learn. This is about recognizing what you already know. I want you to grab a piece of paper or open your notes app and answer 3 questions. What problem have I solved in my own life that others are still struggling with? What do people come to me asking for advice about? What have I been paid to do or learn that has real practical value? Your answers to those 3 questions, that is the foundation of your business. And here's something I say all the time. You don't need to be the world's leading expert. You just need to be further down the road than the person you're serving. Step 2, package it as an offer, and not a service, an offer. There is a critical difference, and most people miss it. A service says, I am a social media manager. An offer says, I will get your business to 10,000 engaged followers in 90 days, or I'll keep working until we get there. See the difference? The service is about what you do. The offer is about what the client gets. When you lead with the transformation, the specific result, the specific outcome, the specific change in someone's life or business, your value becomes undeniable. Price resistance drops, conversion goes up. So take what you know and frame it as, I help specific person achieve specific result in specific time frame without specific obstacle they're afraid of. That's your offer. Step 3, build the ladder, 1 rung at a time. You don't need to build all 4 levels at once. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, don't try. Start with one thing, 1 core offer, get it in front of people. Get 10 clients, learn what they need, adjust. Then, and only then, start building up. Too many people get paralyzed trying to create a complete system before they've proven a single offer. Done is better than perfect. Revenue teaches you things no business course ever will. Step 4, build systems, not just hustle. This is the step most people skip, and it's the most important one for generational wealth. When you're running on hustle alone, you are still trading time for money. The goal is to systematize. That means setting up email sequences that follow up with leads while you sleep. It means recording your best coaching session and turning it into a course. It means building a community that serves your clients in between your live interactions. It means that when you take a week off, the business doesn't take a week off. I want to add one more thing here, something I call the make more offers principle. The number one reason most knowledge businesses fail is not because the product is bad. It's because the person behind the product is afraid to make offers. They are afraid of rejection. They are afraid of seeming too salesy. They let potential clients walk out of their world without ever giving those clients a chance to say yes. You have to make offers. Clearly, consistently, and without apology. Because every time you fail to make an offer, you are not protecting yourself from rejection. You are protecting yourself from income. Make the offer. I have to talk to you about something deeper now. Because here's what I've learned after spending decades studying wealth, teaching wealth, and watching what separates people who build it from people who don't. The business model is not the hardest part. The hardest part is becoming the person who believes they deserve to win. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not so he appears. Not so he is perceived. So he is. Your beliefs about money are running in the background of every decision you make, whether you know it or not. And for many of us, those beliefs were shaped in households where money was always a source of stress, always something other people had, always something we needed to be careful with, not because we were irresponsible, but because scarcity was the water we swam in. Let me speak directly to some of the lies some of us were raised on. Rich people are greedy. No, rich people have solved more problems for more people. Money is the byproduct of value created. The more value you create, the more wealth you're entitled to hold. We weren't meant to have it like that. Says who? Not the God I serve. The Bible is filled with wealthy men and women who were in right standing with God. Wealth in the hands of righteous people is a weapon for good. I didn't go to the right school. I don't have the right connections. The internet has leveled this playing field more than any legislation ever could. The only permission slip you need is the one you give yourself. Now I want to speak to your legacy, because this is not just about you. Please hear me on this. When you build a business using this model, you are not just changing your income. You are changing the story of your family. You are giving your children a different reference point for what is possible. You are teaching the next generation by example that wealth is not something that happens to other people. It is something that is built deliberately by people who decided to take it seriously. You are one generation away from changing the entire trajectory. Your grandfather worked hard. Your parents worked hard, and now it is your turn, not to work harder, but to work differently, to build something that outlasts you. That's not selfishness. That is stewardship. Before I close, I want to address the voice in your head because I know it's there. I don't have time. I hear this one more than any other, and I'm going to push back on it. You don't need to find more time. You need to reallocate existing time. The average American watches 4 to 5 hours of television per day. I'm not here to judge what you watch, but I am here to tell you 2 of those hours redirected toward building your offer consistently for 12 months will produce results that will shock you. You don't have a time problem. You have a priority problem, and that's fixable. Starting today, the market is saturated. There are already 1 million people doing what I do. No market is saturated for someone who is specific enough. General is crowded. Specific is profitable. I help people lose weight. That's crowded. I help black women over 40 lose weight after menopause without giving up the food they love. That's an audience, and that audience will pay to find someone who actually speaks their language. Get specific. Serve a real person with a real problem. Saturation is not the issue. Lack of specificity is. I'm not good with technology. I understand this concern. But I need you to understand the reality of 2026. The tools available today are so simple that if you can navigate social media, and you can because you're watching this, you can run a digital business. You do not need to build a website from scratch. You do not need to know how to code. There are platforms built specifically to help people like you launch and sell with drag and drop ease in a weekend. Technology is not the barrier. Belief is the barrier. And we've already talked about how to fix that. Let me bring this home. Here is what we covered today. The wealth gap is real, but it is not permanent. And the solution is not to work harder inside a system that was not built for you to win. The solution is to build your own system. The Offer Ascension Ladder is the business model that is making black families wealthy right now in 2026. Not because it's magic, but because it is aligned with where the economy is going. It does not require traditional capital to start, and it rewards the thing our community has always had in abundance: knowledge, culture, creativity, and the wisdom that comes from surviving and thriving through hard things. Here is your action step for today, not this week. Today, open your notes. Write down 3 things you know deeply. Then write down 3 groups of people who are struggling with what you know how to solve. That intersection, what you know and who needs it, that is the beginning of your offer. That is the beginning of your ladder. That is the beginning of your legacy. I want to leave you with this. God didn't bring you this far for you to stop here. He gave you your experiences, your expertise, and your wisdom for a reason that extends beyond a paycheck. The question is not whether you have something to offer the world. The question is, when are you going to decide that what you carry is worth packaging, worth selling, and worth passing on? The time is now. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone in your family, someone in your circle, someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Before You Die. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the one thing you know that could become your first offer? I'll see you in the next video. God bless you. Let's build